Okay, so here we are again for episode 2 of the Freeze Team Switch channel. Hopefully things are working. I'm going to try to basically go look at my own stream. I'm running a little bit behind today, working on another open source project. So I need to send out the tweet. Today we're going to work on the console app template. Let's just tweet that real quick. I think that goes out. I think I'll retweet it from my account. All right, let's see. Now, we want to make sure that we're working here. So we'll go open up the stream itself. Twitch. These are things you should have ready to go before you start before you start the stream, but I'm a little bit behind. So what we're going to work on today is the time warp templates. Time warp templates, and yes, it does look like it's working, so that's good. And the time warp template for the console application. Last week we worked on the crypto, and that's what I would like to continue to do. On Wednesdays it's going to be the crypto day. But the Tangram application that we saw last week was pretty nice, and I would like to be able to contribute some more. So we're going to try to mix that with, look at the difference between the way we're doing console applications. Which camera am I using? Okay, this one. Yeah, good. Console applications through my normal template, and then look at the way they're using this console application inside of Tangram, so that we can try to get some synergies there. One of the key things is that they are running their own input loop. I don't particularly like that. In one aspect I do, and the other aspect I don't. But if you don't do that, then it's how you maintain state between commands, right? The fact that you have to log in every time on the Tangram currently says that maybe I don't really care to maintain state each time. So the command, instead of being inside the Tangram console and then you just type in the individual commands, maybe we should just type Tangram and then the follow-on command as a subcommand. So this is a repository that we're going to be working on. So we're going to be working on the console app template in this repo. Okay, so there are messages that pop up on a timer in my channel that I set, and now I don't remember where in the world I set those things. So I have to figure that out too. But anyway, this is the repository that we're working with. This is the templates directory. And I want to also pull open where we were with Tangram last week, because we had that running. Change directory should be at GitHub, and Tangram would be where I put things, right? Oh boy. So we've got a handful of them. Cypher, Cypher 2, and a Cypher Fork. Cypher Fork was probably where I was running my version out of. I guess that would work better. Change directory to it. Alright, let's do an ls in here, and then say just single projects of .NET Run. Should do it. And then we can list these commands. So I want to see if I can build the same thing without a couple different ways, without the their own loop. So see, this is inside. You get a Tangram console, and they have an event read loop, whatever you call it, in their code. Max duration, max request. Okay, I'm not real sure what that information is, but nonetheless, if we do help here, you see what the commands are. So instead of having this Tangram console, what would happen? I'm curious as to we don't maintain any state on any of these things, right? Every time we call a command, it asks us to log in. Let me stop the Twitch. Actually, no, it's fine. That's fine. Kill that. So they ask us to log in. So in the Time Warp console template, let's fire this guy up. Time Warp template solution. We're going to bring it all up in. We don't do any cross state, so there's no event loop that we're handling inside like they're doing. So I was curious as if we could do it across maintain state. PowerShell, we could do it by setting variables, right? But we have to think security too. We don't want these tokens or the keys there. Let's see, did this thing come up? It's working on it. There we go. All right, so we're going to close everything. Oh wait, maybe the little plugin will close everything for me. We'll see. There's an extension that will clean up when you open up a new project. Instead of leaving all the stuff open, it'll close everything. I don't remember if I installed it after I reinstalled Visual Studio 2019 or not. So we'll soon find out. It did collapse the right menu. Visual Studio by default keeps open like everything you had open the last time. Which sometimes is handy, sometimes not. Alright, let's close all these documents. Close all. Instead of waiting for that. And now we've got different templates. Console template is the one we want. Console.c# is the template that we working on. Yep, that's the project. Okay, so should have some test cases in here as well. And the way this structure works out is we're using Mediator, of course, because I love Mediator. I think it's awesome. And what happens, we also are using this new feature in, let me find the library, that's going to be coming. System command line experimental right now. And it's still in alpha phase. But it's to try to make the .NET Core have a consistent user interface from a console app. So when we type a command, they have subcommands, etc. Actually, let's go pull open that. Let's go pull open that repository inside of GitHub. Let's do GitHub. So see if I can find that. GitHub document command line. This looks like it. Hopefully. Correct. All right, let's throw that in the chat window. So that's available. All right, daily builds. We're not using the daily builds, but we are using relatively new build. I just updated this template earlier this week. And where in the world was the documentation? I don't think the wiki has anything. We've got some samples and some getting started. Build, see contributing guide. None of that. Our wiki. I guess it is on the wiki. Your first application, your first system command line application. I don't see any demos there. All right, so again, they have their own template. They're trying to explain how you could go through and build these options. But we do it a little bit different here. So what I want to do is I want to be able to take, so that's the primary piece, and we're using this as a part of the Time Warp console app template. Let's show a little bit here. So the idea is you take a command that you defined here. So we've got sample command with 3 parameters, right? And now I want to be able to execute this from the console by parameterizing these things. So we parse through the, man, could I repeat myself a little bit more? Sorry. We parse through each of the commands that are in the system, and we turn them into command line options. So here we say use mediator commands, and this will parse it out. So let's try to run this thing. Again, I should be a little bit better prepared than I am. All right, ls, and if we do, and also we're in a template directory. So we're actually building a template, not, this is the actual template directory, not an instance of the template. But we can run all the tests from it as well. So let's go validate and make sure we have those working correctly. Here's the console C# test. So let's review those real quick. All right, so no arguments should fail. Let's first just run them. Make sure that they all run, and they should. Okay, so everything passes. Should return success. So then what we're doing here, we also use Fluent Validation to validate each command as we execute them. Let's see, what's that? I'm getting dropped frames quite a bit. That's disturbing. Why am I getting drop frames? I just rebooted the machine. I'm not sure. Drop frames detected a few seconds ago, 2 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. 24% frame rate drop. That's not good. So we've got fiber. I don't know what would be going on that would be causing the frames to drop. Maybe it's when you compile or download, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. Move this other tab over here. And what we want to do is actually show you how this console thing runs. This is the diagram I want. Alright, so we're going to go into, I should be able to install the template as well. Go in here. Let's see, do I have install? I should have an install method. There's a PowerShell script there. Cat that publish. Let's see what it'll do. .NET publish minus sharp C# console minus configure release runtime 10x64. Okay, so that's inside the template. We actually want to publish it. That's not what I'm looking for. I want to actually deploy the template or install the template. Must be in my tools directory. Hopefully in my tools directory. Build and install the template. Let's cat that. Alright. .NET new. Uninstall Time Warp Console template. .NET new -I Time Warp Console template. So we're going to package it up as that version, and then we're going to install that particular version. Let's try it. Well, first let's do .NET New here. And this will list what we have. And do we have Time Warp Console already? We do have the Time Warp Console already installed here. So, as we saw in that, it will uninstall it. Let's just do these one at a time as opposed to running the script. Let's do this and confirm that that uninstalls the template. So notice the Time Warp Console is missing. So now we're going to run the install template, or whatever the heck the name of it was. And we are dropping frames at like 25% rate, and I have no idea why we're dropping frames at 25% rate. Maybe Visual Studio's having a coronary. That's the only thing I got running, except for like my version control software. Version control is quite nice. This is GMaster, by the way. And I can go back through commit by commit and see the items that were changed. I can look at the file history of the particular item that I have selected. And you can see the diff here. Now if we go find one that actually has a C#, these are just CS Proj. Here's a C#. I can look at this through a text code. I can look through semantic differences, which semantic diff does after the parse. So anyway, GMaster is what that is. If you guys want to check it out, it's a very, very nice Git client. And I'm still dropping frames. I'm not sure what to do about it. Click to read your notifications. It's just drop frames. It doesn't help me. So, apologize if it's jittery. It's going to be on my end, I guess. I don't think I have anything else running. So I'm not sure why we're dropping frames, because it worked fine last week. So OBS is sucking up a lot of the CPU, which makes sense. But what else is doing it? I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't know. Maybe the antivirus is doing something? I'm not sure. But it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to run this install, build and install PowerShell template, and this should give us the new template with a sample command. Now you see .NET New, we do have Time Warp. Okay, so now we're going to create a new tab, and we're going to go over into a temp directory so that we can instantiate a new instance of this. So cd into temp. Let's see what we've got in here. I'm going to say there's a console test already. .NET New Time Warp -console. Time Warp is my company name, Time Warp Enterprises. So these templates, by the way, are publicly available. There will be some templates that the Freeze team, which is the mentoring program that's going to be official coming out any day now, will have access to. This one is, these are publicly available to everyone, which include a Blazor template and this console template. So here, -O output's going to be, let's call it, what do we want to call it? I want it to be Tangram. The objective is to get to an alternative app on Tangram, just to see if we can. It's going to be a long ways coming, right? But we're gonna that's the goal. So, which Tangram is the cryptocurrency that we looked at last week. Tangram doesn't exist in this folder. Tangram. Let's just go with Tangram. Why not? -O Tangram. Okay, fine. Change directory to Tangram now. Let's see what we have in here. So there is pretty much a basic. I shouldn't say basic. It's got quite a bit, including test cases in the works. Let's open it up. Time warp tangram solution. So let's fire this up in Visual Studio. I apologize, still dropping packets. Maybe I've got an internet problem. I have fiber here. Normally works pretty well, but it has had a few issues occasionally. Okay, so this should be open. So this is an instance of the template, and the other one is the actual template. So let's take a look and see if we can build this guy. That red flashing across didn't look too good, did it? 0 succeeded error list. What the heck is going on? .NET build. Let's just do it from here. Let's see what kind of messages fly by. First thing we should always do is check .NET version, right? Build succeeded. I don't know why it didn't succeed inside of Visual Studio, but build succeeded. Okay, so LS, let's go to .NET. Let's do .NET test. Will it work from the top? Let's go find all the .NET tests. I think it will. Found the test DLL. Ran 4, passed 4. So there we go. So the tests work in here. Now. Cat this publish. So this is where they make this as this will publish the thing and add that to memory. So let's try to run this. Publish it will publish it to a specific runtime, which is Windows 10 in our case. So normally go about 2 hours. Today might be a little bit short, but we'll see how far we can get and see if I can improve some velocity here. All right, so that ran the thing, and now it's in, should have been added to our directory. So if I just hit Tangram, what do we get? Okay, so see that. So it ran, it's built it, it's put it into our path so we can run the thing. Notice that we automatically get this information. This is from the library that Microsoft is building, the Alpha one, the command line library. It tells you this is how you use the thing. Let's test the ---- version first. 002. I don't know why I pushed it to 002, but I think we'd come with 001 in the template, right? First one. Maybe I should fix that. All right, so there's that, and now you have a sample command. So, like I was saying before, instead of having your own console loop, now I could do the tangram and then have a subcommand, which is called sample command. And notice that it's complaining because I don't. Oh, by the way, that tangram sample command, I don't know if this is working yet. Let's see if tab works. It doesn't work. I think they're working on it so that I can get those features as well. ---- help on that, and that will show you the options for this particular item. So what I would like is a consistent user interface, and that's what the point of this thing is. But I also like my mediator pattern, so I can build a command, a mediator, automatically parsed it through. I didn't go through and say add the options. It just did them from the code by looking through the commands that are set up here. Right, so this sample command here has these 3 parameters on it. Parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, quite uniquely named, I have to admit. But string, integer, and another integer. Now let's try to run it. I don't know what it even does. What do we do when we handle this thing? It just prints out the thing that you asked for. So fair enough. But it has some validation on it. So we use Fluent Validation. Real easily, you'd be able to create a separate command in here that has its own, the command itself, which is a mediator request. How you handle the command, you can validate the command. These all run through the mediator pipeline, so if it's invalid, it'll throw back an exception of a particular kind, and we'll capture that and send it to your screen. We're going to do that here in a second. And then you can handle it and run whatever really you would want to do besides console.outline. Anyway, that's a nice little option. So let's try it again. Sample, and then let's say minus parameter. You can get short parameters too, but when you name them the same name, that kind of makes that hard. Parameter 1, and it's going to be some string. So Bob, and parameter 2 needs to be an integer, but what if I pass in high? And then parameter 3, is it required? Let's just leave it off. Okay, so cannot parse argument high as system.int32. I guess that's decent information. Could be better, right? All right, so let's make it the number 2. And see, it says parameter 3 must be greater than parameter 2. So that's pretty decent Fluent validation. That's a Fluent validation error there. Notice the first one actually threw this exception, made it out. So that could be a little bit better. I guess I could parse it and say, given it's a command, yeah, I don't know if I like that or not. Yeah, I don't think that's bad. Just let it do that. The help tells you right there what the heck it's supposed to be. All right, so parameter 2 and minus. Can I paste still? Yes, parameter 3, and that needs to be another integer. Let's make that 5. But it says parameter 3 must be greater than parameter 2, so let's make it 1. Hit enter. There, you get the same message back. Okay, so make it 3. And you get Bob23. So there, your parameter passing, all of that command line stuff is handled for us, right? So now I want to turn that Tangram app and pull pieces out of that Tangram app into this type of feature. I have plenty of concerns because it's in the background. It fires up Tor, and it does everything over the Onion network. So maybe maintaining state is the way to go, right? Because they build a shell, and it might be just inefficient as all get out to not have your own loop. But let's see. Either way, I think it's beneficial. Well, we didn't even fire up the Tangram code yet, did we? So this is the code, and we need to exit. Assume exit. There it says exit. All right, so I'm going to pull this up in VS Code. Code dot. I have code VS Code mapped in my path. Dot says current directory, so that's so they can open the current directory in VS Code. That's what that would do. And the reason why I'm using VS Code is because I'm dropping rates already at like 1 out of 5, which I have no idea why. So if it's CPU intensive, VS Code runs lighter than Visual Studio. Okay, so let's take a look at the commands that the thing actually runs inside of Tangram, so that we can try to duplicate those. remember, I spent 2 hours on Tangram last week, but that's the only 2 hours I've spent at Tangram, so I'm still not still not comfortable, needless to say, with where things are. I know my way around the code. Cluster, I don't even remember what the heck this is. What am I looking at here? No, bin, you know what? I don't care. Let's do this. I want to open a Visual Studio instead. And all I want to do today is to try to map their commands, which they have laid out in a very similar command pattern, to commands in the new template, to see, just to get started on making a little transformation. And maybe we can even try to use it inside of their app. Put Mediator in there. Work, either work from left to right or right to left. But let's go find these things first. See all this stuff in here? It's in there. Tor's running. So maybe the idea of maintaining state's probably the wise one. It would be interesting if I could get the Microsoft capability inside of its own read. What's that called? Read event post loop. Whatever, it's a shell, basically. I don't know if I can do that. Application layer commands. Okay, so this is very similar. This is the command pattern. He actually uses the word command. He's got iCommand is his marker, right? So they use name, description, and execute. So we have a handler for each command. So there's no execute for it. That's a separate concern. Excuse me. And then he has some generic commands, which is his exit here. Ah, yes, they have a loop for theirs, so they need an exit command. We're not going to have that yet. What would it be the first one? The first thing we do is we vault unseal command, right? What parameters does it take? So he has an unseal service, would that be on their handler? But what it actually does is he prompts for a vault key. So that's, this is simply his loop and handling it, which is pretty decent. But I'm going to try to change it just to see. We're going to throw all this away maybe next week or tomorrow or today. But the vault key is what the parameter is. So the equivalent of that, I'm going to move this guy over here momentarily, and we're going to pull open that Tangram version right here, and we're going to create some commands. All right, and this is going to be a new folder. Add new folder. Vault. Spelled correctly, it could be this way. So I tend to organize my features. In this case, when you're on a console app, these are more commands, same thing, by the state that they act upon in Blazor and on a web API. Given that this console app typically doesn't have any state, I guess you just organize them simply one off at a time, right? Maybe since they can have sub commands. Yeah, nope, just one at a time. So let's call it the same thing. Vault, unseal. That's what he names his commands. We're going to name it the same thing. We're going to name that the folder. And then just like we do here, inside Shift F2, we're going to create a vault unseal. That's going to call it, that's a little bit redundant, sample command request, isn't it? And I wonder if I should even call them requests. They are actually requests. Let's just call them commands, which is fine, like I said, given that this is a console application. Now, the objective of this is I'm going to try to move over to the mediator pattern and have some reusable components. So although this is currently I'm calling it a console app and a command, so I'm not going to use command. I'm going to use request, because the goal is to be able to actually command's fine. Maybe command. Goal is to actually be able to eventually get this into a Blazor web application, which also would be quite tricky because of I don't know how. If I run it in Brave, I might be able to pull this off, because a Blazor application is a WebAssembly application. If you guys haven't looked at Blazor yet, you should definitely do that. I'll throw that link in, and most of my sessions are going to be on Blazor. It's the most exciting thing going on right now that I know of. So there's your ASP.NET Blazor information. And it is a SPA framework for .NET Core, everything written in C#, and it uses the Razor syntax for building your UI pieces. But on the client side, it runs in WebAssembly. Actually, we say it runs in WebAssembly, but what really is running in WebAssembly is Mono. Mono has been compiled to WebAssembly and gets downloaded and run in the browser as WebAssembly. And then the .NET code is actually compiled and run as .NET code, because the whole .NET is running inside of WebAssembly, if that makes any sense. Now, it's coming to where they can compile down the .NET code or the IL code to WebAssembly code. Right now, though, it shows that the .NET code is actually smaller than what WebAssembly code would be. And the performance is quite fine. The initial download of the Mono library is big, and that's a little slow. There's tons of work that they're doing there, and this is going to be officially announced, or it's going to come out. It's already been announced. Everybody knows it's coming out in September for the server-side version. The WebAssembly and client-side version, Dan Roth said, is probably going to happen in Q1, maybe Q2 of 2020. But I believe that the client-side version is, well, actually I write my code so that it can run on either side. There is a crypto wallet out there for Anthem Gold that we're working on right now, and it's open source also, so you could go out and check that out. And what I would like to do is get this Tangram one out there also. Okay, so before we get over into that, nonetheless, I would like to be able to reuse these commands that we're going to create on the WebAssembly version. And we were talking about Brave, because Brave has the capability, if I can find where I just opened that up, Brave has the capability to go new private window with Tor. So if I fired that up and my WebAssembly was running in it, then I might be able to get the features that we're running with the command line Tor. I don't know how much Onion network specific protocol would be required if I was running inside of Tor. And I also don't know if I can detect that I'm running within the Tor network as well, right? So Brave is making great inroads. This has been my primary browser for a while. It runs on Chromium, which Edge is going to go to Chromium as well. So it's solid. It's basically Chrome with much more secure features. But I can actually run on Tor in here. And if I could check to see that that's is running, then that would give us some of the security, hopefully all of the security that we get from running in Tor from the console app, right? And then I could bring in the rest. Now, I know we're using the HashiCorp Vault stuff. No idea what the API is on that, but I'm assuming if it's HTTP running, then I can access that from my WebAssembly as well, just fine. But right now, today, all we're trying to do is build some of these commands. And that vault unseal command is the first one we're going to go with, because that's the thing you have to do. And it takes a single parameter, the vault key. Now, they call it, let's go look at Tangram over there. Or not this one, but the actual one that was running. They call it key when it fires up, right? You get this collection of vault keys. I didn't save mine. They scrolled across the screen up here someplace. I don't know if these were new or not. Maybe. But anyway, they call them key here, but yet in the code it's called vault shard. So you ask for a key, you call it shard. I'm not going to do that. Is it shard or is it key? So I'm going to call it vault key in my code. I don't like multiple names. Prop tab should work. Whew. My machine's doing some things it probably shouldn't be doing. That's why I'm dropping rates like crazy. Not exactly sure what it is doing. Do a little. Oh, I did already, didn't I? And I couldn't figure it out there either. The GPU is obviously being pegged by OBS, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to do. But I'm not sure what else is going on causing myself to lose. Maybe I should fire up another system to do the streaming from. Not sure. Okay, so the property that we're going to have here is going to be vault key. Vault key. Reformat this so that we follow our rules. Editor config is great, by the way. And I don't use them, I can just remove them. Alright, so there you go. That is the vault unseal command. And if we run this thing again, so let's do the build and publish in order to get it to look like the command. We could run it, we could .NET run it and pass the parameters, but this gives you more of what the final product would look like. If we go this way. Now if I just do Tangram, I got nothing, right? Minus version. You see it's only showing the sample command. It should show both. Oh, it would show both if I properly implemented. Now you get to see how it worked. I request of whatever the response is going to be. So this is the way mediator works. I'm going to pull in mediator here, using mediator. So vault unseal command. How do we do it over here? We did request. We just simply need iRequest. If we return a response back, then the response goes in this particular, it would be iRequest, which returns whatever, this would be vault unseal response. Would be the way it would work. Now, when we ran that command, what is the response? Let's try running it again. Let's grab a key, put it in memory, and do vault. I forget what it is. Vault unseal. And I think it'll just prompt me for the vault key. I paste that in. and vault unsealed. So it does return some sort of response. For now, let's just call it vault unsealed response. Shift F2, vault unsealed response.c#. Property Boolean. They don't normally do, they normally only give you back information. I'm assuming there's some information in there. Well, maybe not, vault unsealed, so I don't really get back anything. Just success would be, no exception would be fine, I guess. But we'll leave a response object anyway as a bool success for safekeeping. I don't want those, they don't do anything. Alright, so now you would have a vault unseal handler. Why is that complaining? Oh, publicly visible. Oh, the documentation for the command is actually in the Java docs. Not really Java docs, but the XML docs. Okay, so we can pick that out of here. Out of here. How does their, what does their command say? Vault unseal. Begins the vault unseal process. That's what they say. Looked like it ended the vault unseal process too. But that's what they have. Now let's see if we compile this guy. Something's screwed up inside of here. Project was restored using Microsoft.NET Core API app version this, but with current settings, version 2.2.2 would be used instead. To resolve the issue, make sure that the same settings are used for restore and for subsequent operations such as build, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure what that's problem is. So I get the same thing from here, .NET build. Warnings. Missing XML comment on this. Okay, so we get the warnings because by default I have my editor config say you need to, on your public classes, you need to document the interface, right? And we can do that. Response object from vault unseal. Alright, and this is did we unseal the vault. Alright, so this isn't too exciting, is it? But we're hoping to make some progress here so we can get to something exciting. What the heck, that's a problem. What's that? What's that thing complaining about? If I had 1,000 followers, you guys could all answer all my questions so that I could be a better coder. Still dropping frames now to like 10% ratio. That's disturbing. I think there's a Streamlabs update. No? Maybe it was an OBS update that came out. 14%, 660 frames per second is all I'm trying to do, and I'm dropping like 10% of them. Yeah, so maybe it's an internet issue. Again, normally I have fiber and I have 100 meg down and like 50 meg up, so 50 meg's plenty for a stream. And nobody's streaming Netflix anyplace, so I have no idea. Alright, so there's that. Let's see now, we put the request model in. Let's see if it automatically picks up our command. Let's run it from here. Pull up the console. You have to pass in your parameters in order to get more, so that's why I kind of like doing it from the console app. So see, all you get is if I don't pass in the parameters, right, is the top level thing. Whereas if you publish it, here, rains are coming, so if you lose power, so we need rain terribly, so it's raining like crazy right now, that's a good thing. Alright, so we're going to publish that again, and then we're going to run hand grab, get that. Oh, I still only see sample command. Why am I only getting the sample command? It should show me all of the commands. So what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Maybe it's in the startup, maybe I registered them specifically. I am registering the validator specifically, but add logging, add singleton, get service. These are just some little helper things I use occasionally. The get service says, go find the root directory if you're in a Git repo. Alright, so use middleware, use helper, use version option, use parse directive. In fact, these are all from the command line thing. I request preprocessor, so this is my validation behavior that I set up. And this is the specific validator. Because Fluent Validation doesn't support registering them all yet, I think that'll come. Well, it's going to come. It's already in. It's in the works. But until it's released, they're not going to update that. So we won't have to go through a new visa. But the sample command got registered somehow, didn't it? Time warp command line builder. So here it is. We're adding mediator. Just start up assembly. And mediator should go through and find all of the oh, there's no handler. So mediator's going to search for handlers. I'm guessing, where do I do that? I did this repo a while back and I've forgotten a few things actually. So use mediator commands. Let's see, that happens here. And I go through looking for I request handler. Service descriptors, build command for request. Alright, so let's add the handler. Alright, shift F2. Vault, unseal this way. Handler.cs. And it's got the value. Vault unseal handler. Add that file in there. There you have it. Okay, so this handler looks just like this. Let's do this. Get the test explorer out of the way. Sample command handler. Doink. Put that guy over there. Vault unseal response. Vault unseal handler. So here, have an example of this is what we're trying to do. This is basically, this is saying I'm going to request, I implement the iRequest handler that handles the request I'm going to handle, which is vault unseal command, I guess is what we decided to go for. And that iRequest handler needs to be brought into scope using mediator as well. I prefer my users inside the namespace. I don't know, it just seems to have better symmetry. Jimmy Bogart does it that way most of the time. It does change things slightly, not much. Very seldom does it ever change, but it does change the way they order, and normally if they're inside, the using can be shorter than it would be on the outside, but I just like the fact that the namespace encapsulates the whole thing. Things inside this namespace are using this side. All right, so I'm going to implement this handler in this interface. So there's the handle, probably implements it with throw. System not implemented. That's totally fine. Well, actually, that's not fine. Let's do it. Let's implement it just like we did over here. Right? Put a console.line in it. We don't care. And we'll reprint the key that gets passed in. That'll be the way we handle it. Fixed name violation. Use block for the methods. Okay, let's do that. My variable naming convention is the name of the class with the lowercase in front, A in front of it. Feel free to complain about that naming convention. I've tried. Whoa, there's thunder. So like I say, if we drop, you're gonna know why. I do have battery backup, but if the power goes out, that will only last for so long, and I probably will just quit shortly thereafter. Gracefully quit anyway. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to say console, nope, not that one, console dot, how do we bring that in, dot write line, and we're going to print out just the command information that we got in. So all we're trying to do is build a set of commands that are equivalent to the commands that are in Tangram using this method, and we're going to see if we run them outside the state how much trouble it is. The first thing you recognize is that you have to unseal the vault. So and they maintain the state of the vault being unsealed. So that key is going to be a problem, right? And we may end up saying, okay, we're going to maintain state 2, and we absolutely can maintain state inside the WebAssembly application. So that might not be a big issue, which is our goal, is to create the web app crypto wallet for Tangram as well. All right, what am I going to print out in here? I'm going to print out the a vault unsealed command dot vault key is what I want to display. Vault. Yeah, obviously, in the real world, you never want to display the key. We're still on testnet. None of this matters. There's no real money here. This is demo purposes only. Okay, so the vault key, and just display the key, right? And then all right, that would be actually unseal the vault. What is it complaining about? It's probably going to be like some once task or awaitable task, vault use cancellation, not all code pass return. So we're going to do task. First we're going to return. Maybe we're going to return task dot completed task. I think it's just that. I don't think it is needed, right? Okay, what's it complaining about now? Get a task that's already completed. Cannot implicitly convert system task. Oh, so the one that returns a void is a task of the mediator unit. Okay, so I think mediator gives me that. I forgot. Where the heck do I get that? There it is. Look at the example on the right over there. That's why we write these templates. So you have examples. Use them, silly. See this over here? That's the template, the example problem. All right, so there we go. There's that guy, and now he's complaining about something else. I'm not sure what that is. request handler, sample command request. Oh, we don't, I'm lying to you. We return, this guy returns a result. This request handler actually has a response. Vault unseal response is what he has, and then I need to return one of those. Let's new one up. New, typically we get code smell, but this is exactly where these things should be newed. So if you're worried about the new, default unseal response, and inside that guy, we're going to say success. We're going to say success equals true. Don't think I need a semicolon inside of the initializer, right? I don't think so. And this is going to complain again. First of all, it's going to complain because now I need to return this guy. And this would be, there's no await in here, so I need a task from result. Task dot from result of this. How about that? Now it's not complaining. Okay. So this is complaining about something, I don't know what. Oh, my public no documentation. Don't care at the moment. Just build and see if we can build. Blood there doesn't look good. Why can't I build from inside of Visual Studio? I don't know why I can't build from inside Visual Studio when it builds just fine. Now here, .NET build. And let's try to publish it again, and then let's see if we get some list of the next command. Well, we made a change. We got an exception. Sequence contains no matching element. Get description for name, string. Oh, that's why we have the rule that you document it, because the way this pulls its documents in is from XML doc, right? So I request those. Did the handler have to have? Did I put? There's no docs on it. Oh, because I'm smarter over here. I actually make the handler an internal handlers, because why would they care about that, right? And that will solve that problem, that particular problem. Let's look at the we should probably create a validator too, right? Because what do we need to be valid in this guy? I really like it to work inside Visual Studio. I don't understand what this crap is telling me. But with the current version, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Let's do this. I'm going to fix that in the template. Maybe. Maybe not. Let's try to build this guy with a .NET Core 3. So my template still needs a little bit of work, as you can see. What's it complaining about? Net Core 3. We should be on Net Core 3 now. So it does the same thing over here. Let's do this .NET // version. Right. so we got that. .NET build. All this time, no, this is why you need to have screen share on. So I've done all that time on the wrong seat, myself. Oh, sorry, that's pathetic. We're not gonna go back for 2 hours though, or for an hour now. That's why you gotta have live guests to say all the stuff that you're screwing up. But it is what it is. I'm gonna get better at this Twitch thing. .NET build. Interestingly enough, that also is like right in the way, isn't it? My video is right where I'm typing the commands. So that stinks. So that guy should go up like this, and I should make sure that that stays out of the way of the screen. Right. So you get it like that. Okay. And Project Tangram is not compatible with the NetCore 2.2. Supports NetCore 3.0. Okay, so what did I change? I changed it there. So I should change everything. Everything should be 3.0 app now. I don't have any reason to not. Everything's alpha anyway. Let's see. Let's do it from the command line first. See if it complains. Now. Alright, so we saw that that's a problem. Now let's see if it works from inside here. Oops, that's the wrong one. This guy. Let's see if it builds in here now, F6. Everything builds inside Visual Studio fine if I do that. So let's go straight to the template and go look at the console C# source. You know, I typically do a props, directory props on the outside. Let's go look at the full review of this guy. What I just selected, that's slow. Okay, so normally there is like a props out here. So you'll see it in this Blazor state one. Directory build props here, and you should probably see target framework. Net standard 2. Well, this is that's a little different, but all right, let's just fix it. Actually, let's not fix it. I can add that to my to-do list of things to do later that you don't have to watch me do. Okay, so creating a console app, blah, blah, blah. Let's go publish and build. And now let's see if we run the publish command. Come on. It's taking its sweet time. I'm guessing then that it's locked or something. Why isn't it letting me publish it? Thought that build was fine. Cat publish, what does it do? It's not using anything new, just the source of the project and the configuration of the runtime version. So why wouldn't that publish script complete? It ran like 4 times in a row earlier. It's just slower than molasses, I guess. Maybe my internet is having some problems. Alright, so Tangram. We're gonna run, and we still get a problem. Sequence contains no matching element. System link enumerable first. Timework command line builder. Build command for request. Line 70. How to use mediator commands. Build command. Sequence contains no matching element. This sounds like get description for name, but it's looking through the XML docs. That's what it's trying to do. To pull in and build that. And that's failing. And that's failing. I don't want this guy. Matter of fact, I want to move that guy off the screen. Move him over here. Okay, so that's failing on line 70. Line 70 for each property in a type.get properties. I think that's what was failing, right? What did it say? And timework command line number, build command for request. Line 70. IEnumerable sequence contains no matching element. Could put a breakpoint in there and try to run that from this guy, couldn't we? Still seems a little bit weird. Why that is giving me that grief? Right? Why is that giving me grief? Not sure. Still not sure. Alright, so F6 build. Builds here fine. Put a breakpoint in and run it from here and see what happens. Line 70, var option equals new option. It's this XML doc reader get description. Let's see which one doesn't it like. I'm gonna close these guys, give us some more screen real estate. Yep, and shrink him down. I don't care about that either right now. Okay, so F10. XML doc reader, get description property for property info. Vault key is the first one. And there it is. Vault key. So he's trying to tell you what this property is. And the vault key is the vault key. Alright, so that makes sense. And let's go up here and fix this. Alright, just fix that. Okay, so now we got the documentation. Alright, there we go. Let's run and see if we get any errors here. We shouldn't. No error, no error, no error. No errors, come on. Alright, so now you see on the screen you've got vault unseal command and sample command showing up. So it registered the command. Now we should be able to run the publish over here fine, which will run it again, build the Windows version of it. And now I can type in Tangram here and get another exception. which just means it didn't really publish it, did it? That publish is a bit concerning if it doesn't overwrite the guy. Yeah, that's slightly concerning. Because it should be in here. Oh! I switched it to Netcore 3 and my publish is probably adding the wrong thing. Cat publish. See that Netcore 2.2? Yeah, I want everything to be a Netcore 3.0 app now. That's where my mistake is. So code publish PS1. Could add it from Visual Studio. I have it open, but VS Code opens pretty quick. And Netcore app 3.0. Save that and close this and run that publish again. Now we might actually have two of them in the path, so it still might not work. Yep, found the first one because it adds it. Alright, so the solution to that is to copy this, it'll re-empty the path and won't add it again if I open a new tab. Change directory back to that tab. Here, publish again this time, because it's only in memory. I'm only adding it to the profile memory, so we'll add it now. The odds are higher that it works, and it does. Okay, so now I can do that and say vault unseal command, and we should probably make it so that when it parses the name, we could do Pascal case on those commands. We could make it so that it didn't actually need the command name in it. Okay, so it did nothing. Oh, we didn't add validation yet, right? So if I do minus help, it'll tell us what the variables are. It doesn't say it's required. So now let's go add the vault key as validation. And this should really be pretty quick. Actually, I could write I'm going to write inside the template, maybe not the public one, but at least for myself, or for the freeze team, we'll at least have one that we can generate these templates, generate all of these things in one go. So new feature, and then pick the items that you want and generate them. Okay, so we want another validator, Shift F2, vault, unseal, validator.cs. And here you go again. Let's see, what would you do? You just need a constructor. Validate parameter 3 greater than parameter 2. Oh, this is an example of a little bit more sophisticated rules, right? So in our case, whoops, CTOR won't pull that in, does it? But let's just go over there and grab it ourselves. Again, this is why we have templates. Alright, so fluent validation, what's the rule for? Oh, you might want to inherit appropriately. Again, this is why you have templates. So what do I need? I need an abstract validator of the thing that it validates. Right, so abstract validator of the vault unseal command. So that's the thing we're going to validate. Right now, the rule 4 shows correctly. And fluid validation is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. Let's see, what's that key going to look like? We could probably write some regex expression. Let's go grab the key. Let's go grab a key, see what it looks like when we were in the Tanagram guy himself. Is this the one? Nope, that's this directory here. So what do the keys look like? This is a key, right? So we could put, so if they're all the same, you could say must be, we could create a regex expression for it or something like that. Now for one, what we're going to do is we're going to rename this to be a vault unseal command. And then a vault unseal command dot vault key dot let's see, if I put maximum length or a minimum length, doesn't that pretty much imply already that it can't be null, right? You can do the not null thing, but how long is that? Try to figure out if it starts with a 1 or a 0. Okay, so it is 67, so 66 characters long. Characters long. Minimum length, maximum length. Let's do that. And that's the only parameter. Default message we can live with. This was just an example. And it's complaining about something, probably because it's public. Doesn't need to be public. Actually, you might want these validators to be public. Made them internal here, probably just so I didn't have to document it, right? Might want them to be public because you're going to share those between the client and the server or something like that. But for now, we don't care. All right, so now there's that. F6. Let's see. There's a first example of very minimum. We can we could run whatever check, a regex expression on that thing, whatever the heck it is. We can figure out what the rules are, and we can validate it better. Right, but all we really want to say right now is just that if you don't pass anything in, then it's going to come back and say, hey, it's got to be 66. This is minimum length and maximum length. Is there a fixed length? Defines a length validator the current rule only for string properties. Validation will fail if the length of the string is outside the specified range. Oh, it takes an exact length, 66. Yeah, in our case, we're assuming they're all the same. But that's what it's got to be, a 66-digit key. If we're wrong, let's find out. Okay. back over here to where we were. Somewhere. Let's just publish, because it's going to have to build the thing first anyway. Store complete, did all that, now let's do Tangram. Oh, is this the window? Let's get out of that one then. Let's go to the latest one we were in. Let's publish it from this window. And now try Tangram Vault Unseal minus help. Okay, there's that. Now if I pass it in with no parameter, it should tell us something. It should have told us something like, hey, it doesn't tell us anything, and there's good reason for it, because we have to register the validator, just like we did this one. Like I said, that coming soon, Fluent Validation will have a add validators, and it'll just search the assemblies and put in there whatever it finds, so you don't have to do this. Vault unseal command. No, unseal validator. Like that. And actually, this should have been the command. Unseal, vault unseal command. To validate, if you're looking for the validator for that, this is the one. That's what that does. Then there, everything's scoped. That's fine, because this could run on a website, can run later. Scope is the right way to go. Scoped is effectively a singleton when you're running in WASM and in the client, in console app. That's fine. Okay, F6. I'm going to build this guy. We might get started on the next one, but this is a little time consuming for something that's actually trivial. And I'm going to go do these with every command. And at least we'll be able to document the interface. But before I do every command, we probably should try to talk about that. How we're going to maintain state across commands, and how secure that will or will not be. But nonetheless, gives you an idea of how the time warp console template works. I need to update to 3.0. And also the objective of where we're trying to go. I like to write your web applications as a console application first, believe it or not, because when you use this command pattern as mediator, you'll be able to pull out all these things that you're going to do from whatever UI you're going to do them from anyway. Here we're not maintaining any state, but we simply could maintain state. I mean, we could write to a file, we could write to whatever we want to maintain state across, but we'll see how it works. But nonetheless, this helps us break things down into what actions we expect the user to be able to do. So it's valuable. And if you don't put all your logic in your controllers, you could also, with your web APIs, even use the same model, which I do, and write those as command line applications also, which you could facilitate scripting as opposed to just writing code that hits the API's endpoints. But I digress. Let's run this bad boy. Publish it again. Now we should have that thing registered. So now, if I run this, it should give us, hey, you need to have something as 66 length. Vault key. The vault key used to unseal. It should be used, by the way. And it didn't give me an error. let's do vault key. Let's see if it prints it back to me or not. Required argument missing for option vault key. Okay, so this is going to be ABC. Well, needless to say, we have a problem here. ASDF, what happened? What happened? What happened, my friend? Alright, I don't know what happened actually. Vault unseal validator should have popped in. It should have validated the thing and said, hey, I don't like this because the rule for vault key isn't 66 characters long, right? So let's look at the validator here. What did he say? Minimum length is 3 for parameter 1, right? This was greater than or 0, less than or equal to 10. Those all seemed to work just fine by registering his validator. And then the handler for that guy is rather simple. And pass them back. Okay, so let's see. Debug. Launch the project. And what would be my arguments passed in to this thing? It's going to be whatever the heck I typed into this window over here, right? Should be. So this is what I passed in. And I shouldn't need this. So it's not an argument, that's the app. I think I'm running. Vault unseal command minus key, whatever. Alright, so save that and let's run it in here. Exited with code 1. Alright, so what happened? I don't know. Just crash and burn. But let's not exit. So we can keep open. Let's keep open some things here. Alright. Diagnostics tools. Got a couple exceptions happening. Guesses. Probably want to take a look at that. Invalid cast exception. Unable to cast an object of type 10-gram commands vault unseal vault unseal command to type mediator dot I request. Exception thrown. System invalid cast exception. Oh, so maybe the problem is trying to cast our request, I request, activator a create instance of type. Fault runs to type mediator I request. Okay, so I think the problem may be the fact that when I did this, I was thinking of console only and not moving forward with response. So let's see this is going to create it. It's going to send it based on this. It's not capturing any response. Console app you wouldn't really care because you're going to just pump it out, but for anything else you're obviously going to have a response. So I would like the console app to work just fine without the response, or with the response. And it looks like this would be the place where that should happen, right? And he can't figure out how to do that because of request response. So if I took this command, vault unseal command, and I just got rid of the response and made it a request, well, for one, the handler is going to be broken. We can fix that with a void here. Task void. Actually, it's not even task void. Yeah, so I'm going to have to fix that. All right, we're about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. This is not near as exciting as last week's was, where we got to play with this stuff. We've got the concept of what we're trying to do. I also found some bugs of what I need to work on. Number one, now being handle the response appropriately. I'm using reflection to build these commands, and I simply can use reflection to build the response too, or to manage the response. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm guessing that's the problem. But anyway, we got a few minutes left. Let's see if we can't try to deduce. I don't really want to handle. All right, let's do this. Let's do it like that, and then say implement interface. It'll show me the proper one, and switch to a block, and then do same thing in this one, and then return unit.task. There's that. This variable name should be this variable name. Fix that one. Okay, now comment that out. And my comments, something in Visual Studio just sucks off the hotkey definition. I don't know. I just changed it like yesterday, so I don't know why it's gone, but it's gone. All right, F6. That hotkey still works. Sorry. Okay. Let's try publishing it again. See if we can get that validator to kick in. Yay! So we didn't crash. All right, so that's the problem that we have. And now, if we do pass in the appropriate key, which would be one of these, let's see if it complains about that. Hey, the vault key, blah, to do actually unseal the vault. All right, so that's saying, that shows how one command was created. An hour and 40 minutes to do that with many bugs. I apologize for not being able to get more content, but we're early on. I apologize even more for having my face take up the whole screen instead of the screen share. But live and learn. This is free, so hopefully it can be beneficial to someone. All right, thank you very much. And we'll be back next Wednesday with more on the console and the crypto side of things. I may be back on tomorrow, I haven't decided yet, on some fun stuff. I haven't decided whether I want to do benchmarking on an AnyClone app. I haven't used the Microsoft's benchmarking tool set yet, and I would like to do that. Or I also have another idea of working on my flashcard app. And there's a third alternative, which just left my mind. So the flashcard app is something I've been working on. It's going to be available for the Freeze team members, and that is to, well, I'm using it to learn Thai as well, but it's going to be able to help us study C#, JavaScript, or any type of programming language. So there's quite a few of these tools out there, but this one's going to be done in Blazor and allow plugins to just let you take what I'm calling factoids and display them in different ways based on your plugin to try to help, whatever mental model works for help us to learn things. Then that's what we're going to try to do. But anyway, there's that, and the other option eludes me at the moment, but it was the leading candidate. So, oh well, senior moment, I guess. All right, for now, I'm going to wrap it up, and maybe see you tomorrow. If not, see you next week at Wednesday. Thanks.